The third question, how to practice self-enquiry in daily life. First of all, you must realize that self-enquiry is not a practice in the literal sense. It is a heightened awareness in which you observe the contents of the mind. It is not a mental practice. It is not a cultivation of habit. It is a liberating process. It is a creative self-discovery which frees thought feeling from the bondage of limitation of ego. It is the most blissful activity of life because it is through which we realize the truth and become capable of dropping all miseries, including death fear. Our daily life is quite disorderly, which is quite obvious. The disorder of human life is obvious all over the world. It is universal. At present, we are pulsating synchronously with self-ignorance, and its offshoots are greed, ambition, trying to become something in society at any cost, envy born of comparing with the others, feeling of insecurity and so fear, all this bringing us perennial sorrow and misery, and majority are accustomed to this way of living and not knowing how to come out of it. Is there a way to come out of it? Yes, there is a way. It is self-enquiry. That is why Raman Maharshi prescribed self-enquiry for liberation of human from self-ignorance. It is self-enquiry is a scientific inquiry into the inner reality. Our objective science and religion, traditional religions I mean, they fail to address the human problems, both physical and psychological. Science says religion is just a superstition and God or God does not exist because they cannot be proved or seen objectively. How can your subjectivity be seen objectively? Is it not silly to approach the subjectivity like that? Is not the whole manifest universe a proof of godliness? Because science works in the dimension of known, they talk nonsense like that. Dimension of known belongs to darkness of self-ignorance. If godliness does not exist, who is gluing everything together and how cosmos created out of chaos, which scientists call Big Bang? Self-inquiry makes you aware of another dimension which is blissful rhythm of existence, and you can participate in it in a relaxed way. We have never allowed us to pulsate with the universal heartbeat of existence. To pulsate with the blissful existence is an individual affair, and we cannot do with the crowd because we are going into uncharted space inside, and so only courageous people do self-enquiry. The body is made up of 5 elements of nature, and it is in dynamic relation with the nature, the sun, the stars, the moon. The body is not ours. It belongs to whole. Our thoughts are not ours. Though we say me and mine out of ignorance and separates ourselves from the rest of existence. Self is universal, and we are under the illusion that we have a separate, limited, individual self, which is just a concept, an illusion. So, nothing in the whole belongs to us. We are a part, a very tiny part of the whole, resisting all the time against the movement of life. And this resistance to life is for ego. Because we have no self-knowledge, the ego is posing as though it is real and presiding over our daily affairs and throwing us into a miserable life. Because basically, ego is a resistance to movement of life. Its action brings misery. It is quite obvious. Human is disorderly both inside and outside. Not knowing that his objectivity is intrinsically blissful and intelligent. And because of self-ignorance, man is indulging in seeking happiness in things in which happiness is not there at all. Our cultures are dependent on pursuit of pleasure anywhere in the world. Life is action and relationship. Action and actor are not different. When we relate to people, things, ideas, beliefs, attentively, awareness becomes directional. That is, one is aware of the subject and the object at the same time. This awareness functions without a center, unlike ego. It is called witnessing consciousness. It is like a mirror. It reflects the things as they really are. Neither the things have the intention to be reflected, nor this witnessing consciousness have any intention to catch those reflections. Things just happen by themselves if we sit silently without doing anything. Ego process can be uncovered only in relationship, in our daily activities. If one comprehends and so understands the me and the mine in all daily activities, it prepares the ground for the eternal to be. Eternal cannot be sought, and me cannot acquire it, though many desire it. Eternal comes into mind when the mind is quiet, simple, no longer inquisitive, judging, measuring. It is only the simple biological mind that can comprehend the ultimate reality, but not the mind that analyzes and calculates all the time. The way you act is very important. Life is action. Action done with motive is binding, and it increases self-ignorance and strengthens the ego. Spontaneous action happens when there is self-knowledge and it has no motive and it is liberating. You are nothing but past, and ego is the collective name of the whole past. When you don't live and act out of that past, you start living without ego, and you go on renouncing the past each moment, which is real renunciation. And then you live fresh, young, from a virgin consciousness, and that virgin consciousness is godliness. With watchfulness of every moment of thought, there is weaning of ego activity, and finally it dissolves. And the dissolution of ego in pure witnessing consciousness is real religiosity. This dissolution of the ego is the existential answer of who am I quest. But people are seeking intellectual answers to who am I inquiry. So let us do self-enquiry and be free of identity with the ego, which is the root of all human problems and misery. When you set aside the ego activity like this, a great light explodes in you and you are enlightened. This is called Sato. It does not come from outside. You are not delivered by someone. You are delivered by your own being. Enlightenment is not the ending of spiritual journey, but the beginning of non-ending process in all dimensions of richness. So do self-enquiry and be free of identity with the Mr. Ego and claim enlightenment, which is your birthright. Namaste.